Ron, thank you so much for joining us. As you know, my name is Andy Jacob from DotCom Magazine, and we are just so impressed with your product that we actually tested that we wanted to bring you on the show today. It's an amazing product. It's a personal cooling system, and you're also doing some great things with it now, custom fitting it and retrofitting it to make it a sanitizer. But let's first talk about the ExtremeMist system. We were so impressed with our test. Tell us a little bit about that, Ron, and tell us how you invented that and brought it to market.
Sure, Andy. But first, let me say thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it and look forward to having this chat with you. So the ExtremeMist PCS, we call it, which is Personal Cooling System, was kind of the aha moment I had for that, was when I was out in the Sahara Desert a few years back. It was about 140 degrees coming off the sands, and I was out there for a 1,000-mile journey. I had some camels and a guy from Timbuktu and a kid that spoke a little English that I dragged with me. And we went out on this trip, and it was grueling. It was brutal, I have to admit. And I love doing adventure trips. This was one of my all-time crazy ones, I guess. Well, about midway through the journey, we were drinking water that was just short of boiling out of these cut-off truck Gerba inner tubes that we had on the sides of the camels. And when we get that water, of course, the black inner tube, the sun's beating on that, and it was just miserable to drink, but it was water. So halfway through, my cameleer, grunting, showed me how to, which I don't know why he took so long.
Now, hold on. What is a cameleer? Because we don't know what a cameleer is over here. So tell us what that is.
A cameleer is someone, he owns the camels, and he's the one who controls the camels, basically.
Okay. So you had a cameleer.
I had a cameleer and a kid who spoke a little English so I could communicate with the cameleer. And so he showed me, we'd have to stop at around 11 or 12 o'clock, and we'd take our camel blankets, our saddles, which doubled as our bedding and everything else, and we'd make little lean-tos out of them. And we'd have to sit there sometimes 4 or 5 hours. It was brutal, just waiting for the sun to go over the top of us to get towards a little bit of evening. And during that time, we'd either sleep, which was very difficult in that heat, or just sit there. And I would take that time to pump my water from the wells that we would draw the water from, which was green, nasty water.
Yeah.
And he finally showed me, by taking the water and putting it into a bowl and putting a little indentation into the sand outside of the shadow of my little lean-to, and I'd put it there and aim it towards the breeze a little bit. And because of the evaporation process, it would leave the water, as it evaporated, would leave ice cold water, almost ice cold, very cold water behind.
Wow.
That was one of the most significant things I've had in my life. When he showed me that, within about 12, 15 minutes, I'd pick up that bowl and drink from it. And it was the most refreshing thing. I'll never forget it in all my life.
Wow, that's super cool. So you were out with a cameleer, you were in the middle of the desert. I know that you're an extreme adventure type guy and you love going in these deserts, and out of necessity and learning something from somebody that you were on a hike with in the desert, you had an aha moment to come up with this product called ExtremeMist, which is a misting system that is just incredible. Tell us about the misting system. And as you tell us a little bit about it, we're going to run some video showing the misting system as you're talking about it over what you're saying. But tell us about the misting system, because here around Scottsdale, Arizona, we're starting to see these pop up everywhere. You're starting to see people wear them on their hikes and outside, and we're hearing that even the fire department has saved some lives with these. So some amazing things are happening. So tell us about the misting system. Is it like a camelback where it goes on your back like a camelback?
Yeah, exactly. Being in Scottsdale, as you know, misting systems have been a part of our life for probably 2 or 3 decades now. And when I had that aha moment, I realized that the evaporation, why couldn't I take that same evaporation we already knew about misters and put it into my backpack, whether it's a camelback style or whatever type of pack that someone wants. So we originally made it, and I still have that, as a retrofit kit. Okay. And it's a little 1-pound pump that goes into the pack, and it tees off of the drinking reservoir. So you have your drink hose on one shoulder, a misting nozzle on the other shoulder, and it puts it out in front of you. There's a wireless remote control. When you turn it on, you have 8 different speeds you can select. And on the lowest speeds is good for hiking, running, or cycling. So you're always moving into an ice cold mist while you're drinking from the same system.
Oh, that's awesome.
We managed to make that. Now we've gone on to making our own runner's pack as well, runner/hiking pack with it pre-made. We call it the Jaw Pack, just add water pack.
Okay.
And that pack, you can just buy it, put the water in it, and you're ready to go. You don't have to do any plumbing 101 on it. So since then, we've come out with some other ancillary products as well. We have a quad system where it uses same pump with 4 nozzles on a 16-foot line that you can trim. You can put it on vehicles, open air vehicles. I have it on my side-by-side, my Razor. Each seat gets one. Nice. I get the remote control because I'm the driver, but each passenger can adjust the nozzles. And I can go out. I don't care if it's 115. Everyone else picked up their marbles and went home. I'm out riding around the desert. You can put it on golf carts. You can put it on canopies. I air condition my tent when I land somewhere too early in the day and I can't crawl into that oven. Right. I'll air condition my tent. So all these items, we even have a miniature shower head that can attach onto the,
nice.
Just plop off the mist nozzle and put on a little miniature shower head. It's only about this big. And I can actually take a shower, clean my gear, clean my dishes at camp, take care of a lot of different things with it.
Wow, it's multifunctional. So a lot of entrepreneurs watch this show. A lot of people that are in business or trying to get into business watch this show, Ronnie, as you know. And when I'm walking around outside, which is a safe place to be now, and I see people in this heat in Arizona wearing these ExtremeMist systems, you see all the misting on their face and they look very cool. Does it cool people off, and to what degree does it cool somebody off when they're wearing it?
Well, all traditional mist systems cool up to about 30 degrees.
Wow.
So, but with our system, because a normal traditional mist system is usually way up above your head and it cools the air, cold air drops. And so you get the coolness from that. Of course, you're open to the environment so that air can shift around. If you've been to a restaurant or shopping center, yeah. Sometimes it's cool, then it warms, and it's cool. With our system, because you're walking into it, and you can atomize the water with the different speeds. So I like it on lower where the droplets are a little heavier. So when I walk into it, it actually gets on me a bit before it dries. And then there's times where I was out just this last week and I had to turn it off because my arms got too cold.
Really?
So I shut it down for a few minutes and start it back up again. But wow. It actually, because it's hitting me directly onto the skin, it's even cooling more. And it's hitting me in areas that my carotid area, my chest, and then my arms, as I mentioned. And the dessert is when it drops and hits my legs, my bare leg. I call that dessert. That's
dessert, I love it. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So you had the aha moment with the Camelier. You had this idea in your mind. For those people that are thinking about like building a product or bringing something to market, give us a little color on what that looked like. I mean, how did you even put this system together as an inventor? Did you hire somebody to do it for you, or did you build a little unit yourself and then take it somewhere else to have it manufactured? Just give us a little insight on the mind of an entrepreneur and an inventor at the same time.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So once I had the aha moment, like many other inventions that I've thought of, and I have a little book full of them from my hikes when I'm out there on these long journeys with nothing to do but get in my own head. It's a good place to plan and plot. So right. I have a book full of them that I've never done anything with. I talk about it from time to time. And finally on this one, I was going up a hill in Scottsdale, Arizona, going up into the McDowell Mountains, and it was about 115 degrees out, and I'm getting older every year, as we all are, yeah. And it starts hurting more. I finally decided, you know what, that mist one, I remember that one. I'm going to dig that out, and I'm going to try to make it happen. I had no idea how to do it, to be honest, even though I've had all these ideas, and that's why I never acted on it. The first #1 lesson is this: act on it. That's the biggest step. That first step off that ledge, you got to take it. If not, it'll sit in that book till you die.
That's
So,
great.
yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of pulling the trigger and going for it. So what I did at that point, I had the idea in my head. I knew I wanted to make a pump, something in the shape of this, that would go in ergonomically, fit into a pack, maybe up against its reservoir, so it didn't puncture it. So I wanted it nice and ergonomically shaped. And
Right.
I didn't quite get that shape, but I got close, because at that point I had to then take it to the engineers. And with the engineers, there's going to be a little give and take on that process.
Okay.
You're not always going to get what you want, as the song says, but you can
Right.
try. And then at that point, you have to do your patent searches. So there's Google patent search, which is a great tool.
Great.
And I sat down and spent many hours looking at the Google patent searches. But then you need a professional from that point. So I didn't see anything that really fit the bill that I was trying to build. And I thought, okay, this is a good pass. So at that point, I went ahead and hired a patent attorney, and they have to do the drawings. They have someone that does the drawings for you and gets everything put together. And they'll do an extensive patent search then. And then if you feel comfortable with it, or your attorney feels comfortable with it, then you can proceed with that. And so that's the first steps. Once
Okay.
you get that done, then it's time to take it farther into the manufacturing realm of the whole thing. And that's where it really gets juicy.
Well, maybe in the next episode, we'll talk about some of the manufacturing challenges that you may or may not have. But, you know, this idea of cooling people when they're out hiking or walking or biking or on their quads, it's a phenomenal idea, because it's just a personal cooling system, personal misting system. And because of the coronavirus, I understand, and I saw the video, and it's very amazing that you've been able to retrofit your invention, your system, the ExtremeMist system, into something that now is being used all over the country for people to sanitize their areas, which is unbelievable. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that happened only just about a month ago, and it was just before the mandatory close downs. And I was at my gym, and which is right across from the ExtremeMist office, and they were having a meeting about closing down that day, and the order hadn't come through yet. And I asked them why they were closing down at that point, and they said because the customers are not comfortable about the sanitizing of the gym with their squirt bottles and the rags that they use.
Right.
And so another little bell went off, and I said, well, hang on a minute. Before you make that decision, give me about 20 minutes. I ran back to the office. I did some retrofitting, as you mentioned, and repurposed the misting system, put a longer hose on it so that took the drink hose off, put a longer hose on, and we're already pushing out a very high pressure on our pump. And then with the 8-speed remote control, you can control the amount of droplets on how heavy or light they are. So I can atomize that. It makes the cleaning solutions last 3 times longer than a traditional spray bottle, and especially in these times when it's hard to get the stuff. And then you could go 3 times faster. And seeing it was atomized, it could get into every knurl in the bars, in the dumbbells, and everywhere. And so the gym went crazy over it. And they did stay off their closure till the mandatory came.
Yeah.
And now they've come back for all their gyms, and they have it for that. We've now sent products over to the MTA in New York, the Mass Transit. But before that, after the gym, I went ahead and donated them to some of the hospitals.
Right. Beautiful.
And I didn't intend to really get into the business of doing sanitation. I just thought, okay, that's a great thing. Let's get them where it needs, and to the COVID wards or wherever else. So we started sending them out, and next thing you know, people see it. The other sanitizing companies see it. And now we're in full-fledged business with that. And we've had to actually shift gears on this repurposing and really pivot over much heavier to the sanitizing. And that's the portable sanitizing system.
Okay. And that's a great story for our entrepreneurs watching this show, about how you can have an aha moment. And then maybe there's a second aha moment that you can take the first aha moment and turn it even to more gold, which is what you've done. And not only are these in such high demand right now, but you're helping people by doing this. And this is a wonderful combination, isn't it?
Yeah, we feel great about that. The whole team, that we're doing our part. And listen, we are for profit, but we have done a lot of nonprofit with it too. We've given quite a few of these away. So, but it's just a great feeling to know that people are sanitizing, and hopefully that this is helping the whole country to open up. And we are getting orders worldwide now. And the problem is keeping the inventory in stock.
I totally understand. It's flying off the shelf. Before we go, Ron, I want to ask you, because I know you're available to your customers. I mean, I know that you even personally receive emails and get back to people. And I know that you're not afraid to even pick up the phone and just talk to a customer that bought one of your products. How important Yeah, isn't it great to get that feedback? How important do you think it is for entrepreneurs to really engage with their customers so that they can learn when they introduce a new product, what needs to be done to improve on the product by having this type of personal interaction that you're known for?
Well, one, if you're an entrepreneur of a product, you're the proud daddy of that product, or proud mommy, whatever so to be able to talk to people about it really gets me motivated. And I transfer my business line to my cell phone, and I don't care, in the middle of the night, half the time I'm answering that phone because a lot of people are calling from different parts of the world or from back east or whatever. And I just love to have that conversation. One, I get to talk shop. Two, like you said, if there is any issues or anything, I'm the first in line. I'm the first defense of that. And I'm going to talk the person through it. If there's an actual problem with the product, I'm right there to assure them that one's on the way to them, a replacement.
Right.
And it's all about customer service. And it has to be today, especially when I'm doing something like the sanitizing or even the misting.
Yeah.
Because that can save somebody's life, perhaps. Especially on the misting part, it's an obvious avenue that can happen, which I've experienced firsthand.
That's amazing. And one final story that really caught my attention. I believe there was a firefighter, I believe from the Phoenix or Scottsdale firefighting department, that actually helped somebody by using the misting system up on the mountain. Can you tell us that story real quick before we close the session today?
Sure. Actually, I was on the mountain.
You were on it,
and I had my misting system on. I was going up, and there was a family going up, and the mother, or the lady, when I got there, was laying in the trail, and she was in full heat stroke, not heat exhaustion. She was really going pretty bad and pretty fast. She was unconscious. So I went ahead and started misting her while they called for the paramedics, which they have to bring their big wheel. They tried to bring in the helicopter, but then they decided to hike up the big wheel. And that's a stretcher that on one giant wheel that they can bring them over rocks and through canyons and things. So I kept that going. The paramedics got there while they were doing their IVs. They asked me if I could continue to cool her. And she started coming around a bit before they even got there from the cooling, but she was still out of it. She was in pretty big trouble.
Wow.
And so that one firefighter, he did write in, and we did put his testimonial on the front page of our website.
What a great story. I mean, he actually, perhaps saved somebody's life, and the firefighter loved what was happening as well. It's really good. Now, I know you've got a little bit of a challenge keeping these in stock right now, but I know you're doing the best that you can, and that's good. And I'm sure after people see the show, there's going to be even more people wanting this. So what website do people go to? I know you have two different websites, one for the misting, one for the sanitizer. Let's give those out so people know where to get this system when they want to buy one today.
Sure. For the misting side, they can go to REI or rei.com, either the store or to rei.com. They get the retrofit kit to put into their own packs. And the backpacks, if they want the jaw pack, then they'll go to extrememist.com for that, and all our other products. And then if they want to go for the portable sanitizing system, it's portablesanitizingsystem.com.
I love it. Simple and easy. Ron, I have to tell you, we are so impressed with your product. We've tried it ourselves out on the mountain, and we've seen the videos of the sanitizer. You have doctors and medical professionals and a lot of people using the sanitizer right now. What you've done is really incredible.
Thank you.
And it's great to have you on the show. And we know you're busy, and thanks for cutting out a few moments today. We know you have to get back to it and fill all those orders with your team. And thanks again for showing up today.
Really appreciate you having me on, Andy. You take care and stay safe.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you.
Bye-bye.